Look at it. A scrubber. Free scrubber.
The free scrubber came about with Tom just approaching me kind of out of the blue, saying he wanted to work on a new twin fin. And kind of his idea was he was wanting to recapture some of what my dad used to do for him in the early 80s with those twin fins that he rode, but update some stuff for a more modern feel. And I got really excited about that because, you know, I grew up, you know, watching Tom surf those boards and watching my dad make those boards. And so to me, it was a really exciting project. And he was pretty specific, like he wanted an actual template from the early 80s. So I took an actual template of my dad's from the early 80s and used that. He wanted a bottom that had some throwbacks to that time. He wanted no concaves in it anywhere. He wanted nose to tail V, which we ended up not with nose to tail V, but it does have a lot of V in the back half of the board. But he wanted to update the rockers and the foil and a few things. But it was kind of cool. He wanted to blend the old with the new, but come up with something that was high performance, because the twin fins that he rode at that time in that sort of genre were high performance boards, right? They weren't thought of as cruisers. Like guys were trying to rip them. Tom was trying to rip them. Sean Thompson was ripping them. MR was ripping them. So they were ripper boards. So he wanted a twin fin that was a modern ripper board, a performance twin fin. As Tom and I were working on this board, COVID happened, and he ended up being down in Mexico for several months, just kind of stranded down there during the pandemic. And he had taken several of the boards down there, and he was ripping down there, man. He's just down there in perfect rights for months on end, with no one around, just surfing these waves. And if you go back and look at that film, Free Scrubber, the namesake for the board, he's trying to shred that thing. Like he's dropping into steep sections and getting barreled and coming out and hitting it, you know. When he wants to cruise, he could cruise, obviously, and it still does the twin fin cruise thing. But he was down there shredding on that board, and he came back and he said, "This thing's a go, man. I love this thing. Let's roll this thing out." One of my personal goals with this board was to kind of make a twin fin for thruster guys, because I'm a thruster guy, and Tom is generally a thruster guy, and so many of us are in this sort of day and age. So I want to make a twin fin where if you're a thruster guy and you hop on it, it doesn't feel so foreign that you feel like you have to sort of be ginger with the thing all the time. I want to be able to pump it like I pump a thruster, engage it off the bottom like I do, turn straight up into the top of the wave. And that's what we've accomplished with a free scrubber. You're really able to kind of rip it like a thruster, and it doesn't feel so foreign from a thruster. And yet it's strictly a twin fin. It doesn't come with plugs for a trailer. It's strictly a twin fin. I think that it's cool to have twin fins that are actually twin fins. And if you want to get away from a thruster, ride a twin fin. The moment you put a trailer into it, you kind of created that drag thing again. So part of Tom and I's goal was to create a twin fin that has the hold and the drive of a thruster, that you could surf tight in the pocket like that, but still has those twin fin feels. One of the super cool things about Tom these days is he's so experimental. You know, I think he was probably trapped in sort of having to do the same thing for so many years, and now he just wants to go in all these different directions, from skim boards to crazy fins to all these different things. And that's really cool because it pushes the boundaries. It gets me as a designer thinking in different ways. So when you see him down in Mexico, he's trying all sorts of different fins with the board. And I love that. I think trying different fins with boards is a really cool thing. And the free scrubber tends to lend itself well to that. We have found that it works with a bunch of different twin fins. I generally tell people, your favorite twin fin, start there and then see where you go. A lot of people like it with the AMT. If people want more hold, then they might go to the BMT. There are people riding it with keels. I ride it with keels in bigger waves. So it really lends itself to a bunch of different twin fins. So you've got great options there. When you go into your local shop or you go to our website and you order a free scrubber, what you want to do is get it 2 to 4 inches shorter than your normal shortboard, probably about ½ an inch wider. and the same thickness as your normal shortboard. And that's going to be a good volume, and it's going to have the right proportionality for the little twin fin shred stick.